Welcome to Design Domination, where you'll learn to become a better, more business-savvy designer so you can dominate your competition. Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Colleen Grotzer, and in this episode of Design Domination, I'm getting into 15 social media post ideas for graphic designers. Stick around to get some inspiration for your next social media post, blog post, or email. Now, I know that a lot of creatives struggle with creating content, especially consistently, and I've struggled with this myself in the past, and that's because they don't know what to write about. But there's actually a lot of options that you may not see because you're too close to them. And you also don't realize how much that you do know. You might also discount the value of what you know or assume that your clients and potential clients won't be interested in what you have to say. But you know more than they know. And then you may have heard to share what you know. But what does that really mean? You want to make sure that it's relevant to your audience and the people that you're looking to attract, and that it leads them back to you. Now, creating content is important for your creative business because it shows what you know, okay? It attracts search engines, and that helps potential clients find you. It keeps you top of mind with people on your email list or your followers on social media. It does some of the selling for you before potential clients even contact you. It gives them a taste of your personality, especially if you record a video. And you don't even necessarily need to be on screen either. Okay, so like I said, I've got 15 different content ideas for you for social media, blog posts, and emails. So start getting inspired and taking notes. Once you get into this mode, you'll find it much easier to come up with additional ideas in the future because you'll find inspiration all around you. One type of content that you can share is testimonials or reviews. And these build trust with potential clients because they want to see that you've already worked with other clients, especially if you're new to the game. Few clients want to be the first one to try you out. It's also helpful for clients to find out from others what they think of the quality of your work, and if you're responsive and trustworthy, what you're like to work with, and how your work helped them achieve a certain outcome. They might also want to see that you've helped clients who are similar to them in the same industry or with the same needs. The second type of content is your work. You want to show existing and potential clients your design work. If they haven't hired you yet, they just might. And it might also give current clients ideas for working with you on the next project. The third type of content is case studies. Presenting case studies of work that you've done for past clients is important because it shows your design work isn't just design work. It holds more value. It helps clients get results. Like I always say, no one wants a logo design or a brochure design just to have that. They want what it will do for them. The fourth type of content is a free guide. So if you create a lead magnet, a free guide or something to help people solve a particular problem, that also gets people onto your email list where you can talk to and market to them directly. You want to create content that not only helps them, but entices them to trade their email address for your free guide. The fifth type of content is pain points. It can make for great content to address pain points that your potential and existing clients have. For example, are their sales suffering because their branding needs a refresh? Are they getting complaints from customers because their website is slow or content is hard to find? Letting your audience know of potential mistakes also makes for good content. And it's not only good information for them, it can actually lead them directly to you to solve their problem. You know, they might think they're doing something right when it's really wrong, or it's not the entire solution to their problem. For example, I often find the need to educate clients on why the Acrobat Accessibility Checker is not the be-all, end-all to document accessibility, and that there's actually much more involved to make sure that a document is accessible. Maybe you have clients trying to lay out multi-page documents that are destined for print from Canva, or clients who think it's a good idea to go to Fiverr for a logo design. Another type of content is dispelling myths. Dispelling myths that your audience has can be really helpful to them. For example, I've had a few clients think that they can't use light colors for accessibility purposes, or that accessibility is ugly. Another example could be that clients think that Canva means they don't need a professional designer. A third example might be that they don't have to spend a lot to have their website maintained for them every month. Another type of content idea is addressing objections. You can address objections that you get from potential new clients. And these might be related to cost, for example. Maybe they think your rates are high or that they'll just do it themselves. So you can talk about like all that's involved in the work that they might not even know about. And you could talk about how much time having you do the work is going to save them. Another type of content idea is how-tos or tips and tricks. You can be seen as a helpful expert by creating some how-to content that's relevant to what you offer. Let's say you design emails. You could explain to clients how to set them up or how to set up their emails in certain email service providers like MailChimp, MailerLite, or Constant Contact. Or maybe you provide them tips for getting good open rates. If you design social media images for them, you could explain how to add those images to their social media images on the various platforms. What might be easy for you may not be easy for them. And they also probably don't have the same eye for details that you do, so you can provide some guidelines on that. And of course, a lot of clients use Canva. So if you design Canva templates, you might have some good Canva tips that you could share with them. The 10th type of content idea that I have is frequently asked questions. And these could be FAQs from potential and existing clients. They make for really good content. Just keep track of the questions that you get from them over time. These are not only informational to them, but they make it super easy for you to answer questions that you repeatedly get. Because all you have to do is send them a link to the entire explanation that you've already put together, or just copy and paste that into an email. Lists also make for good content. You could list your favorite software programs or apps for certain things, web hosting companies, email service providers, printers, social media accounts to follow, and so forth. But you want to make sure that they're relevant to what you offer and would be helpful to them and wouldn't give away the farm. Number 12 is your opinion. Your opinion on a product or software is usually interesting to clients. And bonus points if this is an opinion on something controversial or against what others are saying. Number 13 is reviews. You can show that you know your stuff by comparing competing products or services. So maybe you compare Constant Contact with MailChimp or MailerLite, for example. Or maybe you compare 2 WordPress form plugins. You can also make a list of pros and cons for each one and then talk about what to consider or what they need to maybe watch out for before buying them. Number 14 is polls and surveys. You can survey your audience to find out more about their current needs and problems, and that helps you discover more about how to help them. Sometimes quizzes can actually help clients figure out that they have a problem that they didn't even know that they had. So it can give them some clarity on that. And my final content idea is appearances. So if you ever go on a podcast or you do a webinar or any kind of in-person presentation, like speaking at an industry event or something, you want to let your audience know beforehand and send them a link to it afterward. And then you can ask the podcast or the webinar or the event host if you can display their logo on your website. And what this does is it builds trust with potential clients who come to your site and see that. If you'll even be attending an industry event and not speaking, that's fine too. Let your audience know. Maybe some of them will actually be attending, and then you can meet one another in person. Okay, so I want to hear from you. Are you posting any of these types of content already? And do you have any other ideas that I didn't cover? Let me know in a comment. If this content was helpful, you can support the podcast by buying me a coffee. It might actually end up being a glass of wine or some tea, but you could go to buymeacoffee.com/creativeboost.